have this plate, and unfortunately I put it in the microwave and it cracked. Don't know if that's actually visible on there. The crack extends quite a way across, and it's also going across the back, so it's not going to be usable now. But the plate's still intact, so I want to see if I can stop this crack with some resin, seal it up with a UV resin, then maybe just put a design on it, and then at least I can use the plate again as maybe just a catch-all, put bits and bobs on it, but at least it has a life and it isn't going into landfill. Okay, if I'm going to be using some UV resin, I'm going to put a respirator on and some gloves, and this will be the UV resin that I'm using. I'm also going to tilt my blinds a little bit so that we don't get any light or UV exposure, and then I can use a lamp to cure it. Okay, I'm all masked up, which is why I sound strange. I'm just going to take the UV resin and I'm going to run a bead along the crack. I'm going to take a microfiber brush and I'm just going to try and smooth it into the crack. I'll try and scrape off the excess and bring it to the back. And I want to see if I can work it into the crack. So I'm just using a wipe now to remove the excess off the surface. Hopefully there's some in the crack there. And I can take this little light, a little UV lamp, and cure it. Right, I'm going to pop this little UV lamp over to cure it. I've got it on for 60 seconds. I'm just going to let that cure. Okay, I'm just finishing up curing on the back of the plate as well. And then I've got some gold mica powder, which I'm going to mix in to a little bit of UV resin. And then I can paint over the crack with the UV resin, which will help to give it some added support, just in case the UV hasn't actually got into the crack. So we'll let this finish curing. Had about 3 minutes on each side. There we go. Right. Now I've managed to use a wipe to wipe off the worst of the surface. So now I'm going to mix some mica. Actually, let's put the UV in first. highlighter in. I'll start with a little bit first. And I'm just going to pull the end off this. Just pull the little fuzzy bit off. And then I can mix the UV and the mica. Now, because I'm using UV resin, I don't want it to be opaque. I'm going to want the light to get through, so it might be enough. Okay. So now I'll take the mixed resin and run along the crack. And that's what I'm going to do. Just keep painting along the line, curing it, and then I'll turn over and I'll do the back. Okay, so the resin's cured. It's not really as gold as I'd like, so I have some of these chrome markers and I'm going to try and draw over the top with the marker just to pick out the gold. So it's literally a case of just colouring over the surface, and it's giving me a lovely golden shine. Well, you can see there's somewhere that I've actually smudged and missed the plate. So I'm just taking a cotton swab and a little bit of alcohol, and then I can remove any bits that I don't want. So I'll carry on and do that on the back, and then I'll leave it to dry. So I have my plate and I'm going to just use a little alcohol. This is 99 point, I think it's actually just 99% isopropyl alcohol. I'm just going to clean the surface, make sure that there's no dust or grease from my fingers. And then I'm going to leave that to dry. It won't take long, it evaporates really quickly. And I've printed out a worksheet. I've already taken some out of here, but this is just a clear sticker paper which I've printed some images from my inkjet printer. So I'm just going to cut out this image here, this large image. I'll roughly cut it out. The good thing about printing your own images is, well, you can have what you like, but you can squeeze as many as you like onto the paper and really make use of it. I just decided to freehand cut this rather than use my Cricut. And I'm just going to really roughly cut around the outside. And I just want to make sure that that's actually going to fit where I want it to. I think that might be the best fit. I'm going to just try and get in as close as I can here, which will help it to go up the side slightly without creating any bubbles or wrinkles in the sticker, because the plate itself is slightly curved edges. And yep, I think it's going to be best that way. To help me put it in place, I'm going to use some of this greaseproof or baking paper. So I'm just going to slice some off. Let me just move the plate out of the way for a minute. Pop my trying to get the release paper off is often the worst. Right, here we go. Right, so I'm just going to roll that back for a minute, and I'm sticking it down onto here with a bit left over, or a bit hanging over, I should say. See the top part's hanging over. Now I can place this where I would like it. I'm going to stick my top edge down. I'm going to use this felt edged squeegee. And I can lift this up now, and I can pull the greaseproof away. And I can press down my image at the same time. Right, so now I'm going to have to use my fingers to do this part. Getting a bubble. See if I can get that back up again. Might have to put another cut in the sticker. Wow, it really wants to stick to this plate. I'm going to try and squeeze the bubbles out. I'm using my nails. Making sure that I push it down. Any bubbles that you can't get to the edge, use a pin or a pokey tool. This is a really sharp, just a pin like. And I'm just going to poke a hole, and then I'm going to squeeze the air towards the hole to help you release any air that might be trapped. So I'm just going to go around and try and get rid of any bubbles or wrinkles. As I say, if I see too many, I might use, I've got an X-Acto knife here, and I can cut, but you can cut a piece out. So I'm just going to go around. Right. I think that's probably as good as I'm going to get it. So I have some UV resin and I'm just going to apply it to the surface of the plate. I'm going to use my fingers to smooth out the resin. I'm going to really concentrate on rubbing it into the edge of the sticker. I just want a very thin coat across the surface. The thinner the coat, the less it will run. I'm just going to apply some more. I'm going to try and cover the whole surface of the plate. Really concentrate on rubbing it in around the edges. Now I'm going to use a UV lamp to cure it. I'll have to use it multiple times, doing it in sections until all of the UV is cured. So here's the finished plate. You can see it's lovely and glossy, it's all sealed. You can hardly see any of the edges of the sticker. It's all protected. Thanks for watching. Bye.